Pellets of ice fell from the sky. Wind whipped street garbage into ugly swirls, while more newspapers, plastic, and piles of obsidian snow gathered at the curb. McDonald's wrappers and styrofoam takeout boxes topped off the mess. Victims of suspended garbage pickup and the ripping and picking of trash bags by those in search of nickel deposit returns. Luis Rivera grabbed his collar and held it tight against his neck. Sleet pelted his greasy hair. He walked a jerky, fast, double-time march through the cold, not because of bad weather, but because he had a 9 a.m. methadone pickup. If he missed cutoff time by even a minute, he'd have to add dope sickness to his long list of problems. And his chief problem, the bitch of all problems, required his complete attention. He was dead broke and had to get more crack. He hurried past the tall state office building set back behind a plaza on 125th Street, then past sellers of Valium and Darvocet off the corner of Lenox. He weaved in and out of sidewalk vendors setting up displays of African clothes, T-shirts, and incense. He passed under the elevated train tracks on Broadway and smelled the silt of the Hudson River, its waters hidden behind thick columns supporting the West Side Highway and Riverside Drive. There wasn't much happening so far west, just cars passing through to the highway, a little diner up ahead under the overpass, and the clinic. A sign on its brick wall said Reality House, and the reality was that his life sucked. Until crack, the thing he'd cared about was heroin and not getting sick from the lack of it. Now he drank methadone to avoid dope sickness and devoted all his energy to getting money for crack. He made it through the clinic's double doors at 9 a.m. without a second to spare. He shivered in the warm cushion of the building's heat. At a plexiglass window, he downed his meth with the nurse looking on. He walked toward the exit with a pretty dark-skinned girl, Rochelle, who'd stood in line ahead of him. As soon as they reached the outdoors, she spat orange, saliva-mixed liquid into a plastic meth bottle and shoved it into the tight front pocket of her jeans. "You going to the donut shop?" she asked. "Yeah, but I ain't got no money." He'd hoped she'd offer him a cup of coffee, but she wouldn't be selling spitback if she had money. He would have sold his meth, too, if his shoulders and legs hadn't already been aching from missing yesterday's dose. "I'm broke, too," she said. "Just enough for a couple of Lucy's and coffee." Luis shoved cold hands into his jacket pockets, and they walked back across Broadway together. He pushed through the dirty glass doors of Twin Donuts, taking a quick read on the crowd that always filled the place after methadone pickup. 24 of his fellow Methadonians were selling pills, methadone, and hot clothes, shooting the shit about how fucked up other people were who weren't there at the moment. So-and-so was given head for crack. Another one's kid was taken by child welfare. Another was sick and dying from AIDS. It was the same shit, different day. Every day. Luis sat on a stool between Rochelle and a guy nicknamed Little. Luis shook Little's hand. Little's wife leaned over the counter from her husband's other side, her economy-sized ass jutting over the edge of her stool. Heavier than Little by 40 pounds and 2 inches taller, she had thick black hair that hung loose to her waist. She swallowed her food and called out in a raspy voice to Rochelle, "Girlfriend, I got Calvin Klein sweaters, harem pants, and 501 jeans today." Rochelle put 2 quarters on the counter for her coffee. "I'm busted." Still crashing from his last hit of coke, Luis licked his sandpaper lips. His stomach gnawed with hunger, while the unbearable need for crack chased its tail inside his brain. He looked around the long horseshoe counter, hoping for freebies and listening for hustles. Little chucked his chin toward a middle-aged guy wearing a knit hat shaped like a nuclear reactor. Ray just got out of the bullpens, caught in a sweep. No meth for 3 days. They watched the middle-aged guy hunched over a cup of coffee as he shivered and waited for the meth to hit him.